I think the Flying SCVs is doing better in the standings. And on the maps, we have Ascension, Players Rhapsody, and Fighting Spirit as the three maps for today. And so today our first match will be between Yavolo and Zumpy. And then let's get into the game. And we have Yavolo representing the Flying SCVs.
Okay, so in the bottom right, Yavolo representing the Flying SCVs in the dark bluish Zerg on Ascension.
Yeah, and here we have in the top middle, we have yellow Protoss, Zumpy. And now
For Fear Factory.
yeah, I think Zumpy is actually on Flying SCVs and Yavolo is on Fear Factory.
Yeah, okay. Let me double check. Yavolo is Fear Factory, yeah. Zombie Flying SCVs.
Okay.
So I mean, there's no factories and no SCVs in this game, so it's obvious that we are confused. There will never be in a Zerg versus Protoss. So for today, we have planned to cast the tier 1 matches of this this game. So both of these players, I don't know much about them, but they are tier 1 players. So we'll see how they do. They should be pretty good. And we see from a Zerg player the overpool opening, which is most standard ZVP opening, and meanwhile Zumpy is going for the Forge expand, which is maybe a little bit a more classical opening, but maybe it's also the most standard.
Yeah, definitely. So far in this game, we see both players opening standard, maybe a little bit defensive even, I would say, with this Forge fast expand. There's not really a lot of aggression you can put on. But here we go. The scouts are crossing each other in the middle of the map, so they are going to start heading to that right scouting location to find their opponent's base. And now it looks like Zumpy is going to head in to see Yavola has placed a hatchery at that natural expansion and see these lings as they're about to pop here from these eggs.
And he goes for the Nexus first, which is the Nexus before Gateway or Cannons. And that's the right reaction against the overpool. You can squeeze out that Nexus. If you cut probes a little bit and then go for the cannon, you're still safe against the links. But the probe should have seen that there are actually 6 links, which is quite a lot. So you will have to possibly pull some probes to block, because 6 links are enough to kill a cannon or to run by.
Yeah, and these lings are heading right over, and if they get on top of this cannon, there's a possibility it may not even finish by the time the lings get over there. And yeah, it looks like the lings are just immediately in there.
Yeah, this is disaster.
Yeah, no probes pulled in time, and that first cannon gets focused down. The second one does as well. Yeah, what is Protoss to do but fight with their workers right now? And they get one ling down.
Yeah, but there's no hope because there's no cannon even on the way, and the gateway is just finishing, so there won't be a salad for ages. And this cannon will be denied again and again if he just rallies those links that are standing around on the map. There's like 3 links sitting around on the map, but they could stop that cannon.
Yeah, Yavolo's minerals did get a little high there, but I think they've got these lings in the Protoss base. They're in such a good situation. They kind of just have to get like a follow-up attack of lings going, and they can just end this game right here. And we do see more lings heading across the map as they continue to micro these lings and pick off probes in the base.
Yeah, but these 3 links are still standing still, and the cannon is actually finished, which is a great surprise to me. So definitely Yavolo messed this up. but it might still be enough he has for... Yeah, okay. Zumpy calls it, but really he had 3 links sitting in the middle of the map. He should have denied that cannon, and then it would have been crystal clear. And to comment from the side of Protoss, the build was completely fine. Just building 1 cannon is fine against the overpool, but you have this scouting probe there for a reason. You must keep tabs on the amount of circlings built, and if it's 6 circlings at once, then you must block with probes, especially if they're not chasing your probe. If you see them running for your base, then you need to pull at least 2 or 3 probes to block it, so the cannon has time to finish, and the links can't run by or focus the cannon. Okay, so let's hope for a longer next game. Who are we gonna watch?
Yes, this is still going to be Yavola against Zumpy here, and we're just in game 2.
Right. Yavolo is up 1-0, and if he manages to close out this map as well, then he's the victor, as we're playing best of 3s, of course. And otherwise, we get a rubber match. We certainly hope for, or at least a longer game. In the top left, spawning in the orange colors this game and up 1-0, it is Yavolo.
Yeah, and over here in the bottom right, as the yellow Protoss, we have Zumpy, hoping to even up this series and take this map for a win.
Yeah, so the map this time around is Polaris Rhapsody. So it's a 2-player map compared to a 3-player map that the last one was. We'll see if there will be any deviation from the opening builds. So far, it looks pretty similar.
Yeah, I don't think there necessarily needs to be any deviation. As we were mentioning, both of the builds were pretty standard. It was just the reaction to the overpull and the, I guess, movement patterns of those 6 lanes that Protoss was a little bit delayed on responding to. So they should still be safe to open another forge here, but we'll see what they decide for. Yeah, here's a forge going down.
Yeah, but Yavolo actually, I'm not sure if it was intentional or not, but he made a 12 pool or 11 pool and then another drone. It was a bit... It's not a build that I'm used to seeing, but his pool was late and he built drones before putting down the pool after the overload. So it's, yeah. I'm not sure. Normally you either play hedge first or you play for the overpool. A 12 pool isn't very common in ZVP.
Okay, so maybe trying to throw their opponent off here, or just doing a little bit of a unorthodox build from Yovolo. But they do get their net expansion down finally after chasing away this scouting probe. And now they do have 6 lanes also on the way.
Yeah, this time the cannon first from Zumpy. So the later pool prompts him to play an earlier cannon, which is a bit counterintuitive. But this will definitely be in time, and we'll see if he can stop 6 links with 1 cannon. And I guess he's trying to get the gate out to block it a little bit.
Yeah, here goes the gateway. And I would still like to see some probes pulled here, but maybe they won't need to.
Definitely. No, you would only lose 2 links if you just run them past.
Yeah.
And then you have 4 links in your base. That's
yeah, that's not
no
good. So we'll see if they go for the run by again here. Yavola actually using the drone to maybe take a shot or 2. And they get 3 lings into the Protoss base, which is pretty much just enough.
Yeah, we'll see how the micro is. The links are actually engaging pretty poorly there, taking a lot of damage and not killing anything yet.
Yeah, these things just trying to be annoying, poking around, seeing what they can get done, but mainly just denying a bunch of mining time so far.
Yeah, they're costing a lot of mining time, but often, especially in not super Gosu players, I see when they get links into their opponent base, it's actually detrimental to their play because just their build falls apart. That's something I struggle with a lot as well, because you micro these links and it costs so much attention, so it
Yeah.
can be very hard.
Yeah, in theory, the Lings should take less control from you and more control from Protoss to deal with, but sometimes it can end up being the other way around. And so we see these Lings kind of not doing too much here and finally do get taken out by that first Zealot that pops out of the gateway. And so now the worker count is pretty even, and Protoss has both their Nexus up. So they will be able to continue powering on probes right now.
Yeah, so we've got a proper game on our hands this time. Sumpy really should have a look at how to block his wall with a couple of probes in the case of early links like this.
Yeah, we do
But he
see a lot of
survived it
Lings.
this time. Yeah,
Well, there's actually a
there's a lot
decent
of
amount of
links.
Lings
Yeah,
on the way now.
yeah, and
With
circling speed is researching.
yeah.
Yeah, these zealots are not positioned in a way so that it blocks, but without speed, I think that these links cannot realistically just run by. They would get quite a few hits from the zealots and the cannon. Don't think it would be worth it. But there's still more links coming across the map. Now drones are being made, but I think once circling speed finishes, Yavolo will try his hand, see if he can get past.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of his cue as Zergling speed has finished now. But no movement so far from the Zerglings, and we do see an Overlord heading into the Protoss base trying to get a scout off, and on the same side of things, Protoss sending out their first Corsair, trying to see what Zerg is up to here. They are going to see this lair finishing.
Yeah, and there's no Spire yet, so you need to defend your overlords with Hydras. There's a single Hydra out. That should mean that overlords are gonna die now. For sure, the one in the Protoss base is being attacked, and also the one in front of the Protoss wall. But he's trying to get one more here at the Zerg Natural. With two Hydras out now, maybe it's not worth to die for it.
Yeah, now the Protoss' turn to kind of be annoying out on the map, get some harass done, but again, not too much damage done too early here in this game. It looks like Zerg is going to be able to continue building up and actually able to take out all the shields on this one forward Corsair.
There are also idle probes in the natural and the main. Okay, he sends them now, but he was having them for quite a while there. And there's no Templar tech yet, which is worrying because typically, if Zerg does his Hydra upgrades in the right time, he doesn't forget about them, then he should be knocking on this front door at around 8:30. And if you don't have Storm for that, it's very tough to do anything.
Yeah, and it looks like Zealot speed is on the way, and here's the Templar Archives about halfway completed. So Storm is still a little ways off. If Zerg does decide to move across the map, they could put some pressure onto the Protoss uh, if they hit a timing there. Definitely a possibility, but right now it looks like Zerg is actually just macroing up.
Yeah, this I believe that the Hydra range wasn't researched yet. Okay, so ideally you would have the upgrades almost done by now, and then you could be putting pressure on that wall because the Hydra's outrange the cannon and can focus down the gate.
Yeah, instead it looks like it's going to be Protoss' turn to be aggressive here, and they are sending out their first group of speed zealots with the +1 upgrades on weapons, and they're going to see what they can get done. Most likely
Mhm.
heading over to this Zerg third base location, the mineral only.
Yeah, your Volo is standing extremely defensive here. Yeah, I feel like it's not the right time maybe to be this defensive. You should be as the strong party right now as a Zerg, with your Hydras kicking in and Storm not on the map yet. But he's playing it super safe.
And behind this, we see Zumpy is actually taking their own third base, which was kind of scattered by one Zergling, but it was killed. So they do feel safe to expand right now behind this kind of zealot screen that they're doing right now, which is not really getting anything done as there is so many Hydras out on the map right now. This few zealots, they do need Storm to really start dealing with massive amounts of Hydra.
Yeah. Spire is almost done, so we'll see if Volo has planned anything with that. Lurker are also being researched, so that's maybe the more standard. I would expect maybe the Spire to go unused, except for some Scourge, I guess, to get rid of those Corsairs maybe.
Oh, the Corsairs may end up getting taken out by these Hydralisks as they are getting a little greedy going after these Overlords here. And maybe some miscontrol from Zumpy as he does lose all of his Corsairs there, which is quite expensive. And I think they
For
did
two
have
worlds.
+1 attack. So here comes the Zerg trying to make their attack onto this at this high ground location outside the Protoss third, but they do eat a couple storms, and it looks like they're going to back off here.
Yeah, Protoss gets this third base relatively uncontested, which is not the way that typically goes in my games,
Yeah.
anyways. Uh, yeah, it was quite brave of the Protoss to expand at that time as he did, but Zerg is playing it extremely passive and is now going for a fourth base that is so far away from the rest of his army that some zealots might, if they find it, they might just snipe it down before he can react.
Now, you were saying Zerg is playing passive, which I kind of tend to agree with. But here they come with a big,
Comes.
yeah, here it comes, a big stream of Zerg units making their way across the map, trying to get over and deny that third base. And maybe this is the play: is not being so active with small groups, but sending over a big army and just overwhelming the Protoss. And if Protoss is out of position, which it looks like they are right now, they only have a couple zealots and an Archon, which are going to get melted pretty quick here.
Yeah,
So
storms are coming over.
yeah, here they come with the reinforcing Templar to this third base.
Yeah, we have 3 storms. Have to make
Oh,
them count. Not the best. That last one, maybe the best of them all.
yeah, but these
But
lurkers are still out here.
yeah, and they're burrowed.
Yeah, there is one observer, but there's no additional Protoss units to kind of clean up what's left of the Zerg now, and so they are going to lose this expansion, which was taken a little bit greedily and hasn't quite paid off right now. It doesn't look like it. But there is an attempt for Protoss to reinforce this location, and they're sending over Dragoons and Zealots.
And also, the Protoss was able to deny that base that I was saying that maybe some zealots could snipe. He sent a DT up there
Oh,
that
nice.
apparently killed the hatchery.
Okay, so Protoss has actually repelled Zerg for now, and with denying that double gas expansion, they're definitely still in the game. And it's just going to be a bit of a longer battle now. As we see
Yeah, Volo
Zerg.
decides for a new base, a
Mhm.
different base. I like this base as a fourth base on Polaris Rhapsody, but it's being attacked immediately. Let's see if he can get his lurkers into position. No, he just cancels. If we
Yeah.
look a little bit at the economy, in the natural of the Zerg player of Yavolo, there's just not enough drones there. I mean, there's like 6 on the minerals. You should at this point have at least 10 or so. So definitely something that you should be working on there. Get your bases saturated.
Yeah, we see a group of Hydras actually kind of get move commanded onto the Protoss army there, take quite a few losses before retreating. So not really what you want to see from Zerg right now, losing those Hydralisks, forcing them farther back onto the map, and they don't really have any army out on the map to contest this third base from Protoss. So again, they
Yeah.
are just playing defensive, setting up lurker fields.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Yavolo has over 1,000 minerals and 400 gas in the bank. And also he's still on 5 hatcheries, 6 hatcheries only. Yeah, his production simply isn't very high, and he can't spend all his money right now. He should probably put down an extra hatch and get some more drones. Yeah.
So it looks like Protoss is grouping up their army here in the top right and trying to take out this expansion. It doesn't look like they have an observer though.
Yeah, costly attack.
They may get the hatchery.
Yeah, I think he can cancel the hatchery, but he's actually investing a lot of army dying to the lurkers.
From Zumpy, yeah.
Yeah, I wish he would have brought an observer, but Yavolo was actively trying to snipe any observers with that Overlord Scourge combination there.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Yavolo, knowing that Zumpy has brought his entire army up there to the top right, is mounting another counterattack here into the bottom middle.
But there's 7 cannons there, and there's some army coming over with at least 3 storms in it. 4 even. That one High Templar has enough for 2 storms now. So I don't see this small army breaking that third base of Protoss, and the fourth is also going up with 6 cannons and that really small choke there. So it'll be tough to break that, especially as the cannons are finishing up just in time, and there's a few dragoons to stall.
Yeah, we see maybe as a reaction, Zerg is going into hive tech, so they will look to add on some more higher tech units to combat this Protoss army, which is now getting kind of all the resources they need. But here we go, Protoss is trying to, Zerg is trying to break down this Protoss fourth base. And they managed to take out one cannon, but it looks like they're going to get cleaned up here.
But again, if you look at the minerals, especially Yavolo is floating so much money. He really needs more production and more drones. He's fixed on 30 drones.
Yeah.
He should have like 40, 50 drones and then take his fourth base with that, I think. And like 3 more hatches or so. Yeah, it always feels very bad from the Zerg perspective when Protoss has an expansion up on you. That's almost unplayable. It feels sometimes you have these games where Protoss just takes an extra base whenever you try to take one, and you can never match it. And these games are almost impossible to win. Don't feel very good to play.
Yeah, Zumpy definitely staying on top of their expansion timing and adding on a lot of cannons when necessary has put them in a good situation, but maybe Zerg can get something done. Attacking another location.
He's building the probes. He has over 50 probes, so his economy is completely fine. He has more bases than the Zerg, so his probes should eventually even mine more efficiently because there's more mineral patches to distribute them on. So yeah, it's a great position for Zumpy, who is now also floating some money, so he also needs to spend it, but I think he has the production. If you look in his main, I can't count that high, but it's a lot of gates. So he just has to click the units to spend his money.
Yeah, it looks like another attack going over here to the top right, but again, no real observers to deal with these lurkers, but it looks like he's just gonna do it with Storm. So again, taking
Yeah.
out this base. Yavolo, in the meantime, has expanded to 2 other locations, though, so it's just going to be a matter of them can they actually defend and hold these expansions now that they're placing.
Yeah, and get some drones there because the
True.
base itself is not worth a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, they have finally kind of saturated their net a little bit better, so maybe we'll see
Hmm.
some more drones. Here's an engagement in the on the top right, going up a ramp into this Protoss army is Yavolo and the Zerg army. And it looks like they're eating a few storms here.
Yeah, I think Zumpy is just trying to swat down the new bases as they come up because if he keeps Zerg on 3, then he's definitely winning this game. So
Yeah,
he
we.
just has to play whack-a-mole and find the new bases and shut them down.
Yeah, Zumpy hasn't really like grouped up an army of like you know how you will usually see Protoss with like 3 control groups together, you know, mowing down Zerg armies left and right.
Yeah.
Zumpy has been moving with like a lot smaller groups, but as you said, they have played kind of whack-a-mole and taken out these expansions, doing their job just as effectively as if they needed, a larger group.
Yeah. I definitely would have liked him to move his army more as a ball. But we see the Dark Swarm now being used on the cannons on the third base of the Protoss. So Dark Swarm is pretty good against Protoss, but not as good as against Zerg. Zealots still hit the same amount on the Dark Swarm,
Yeah.
same strength. So yeah, the links are cleaned up.
Still, that's a way back into this game. If we look at the fourth base for Zumpy, there's really not a lot of probes mining there, and there's only 1 zealot, while there's 5 cannons and a dragoon. So if we see another Dark Swarm attack, which it looks like we're going to see with some Ultralisks even thrown into the mix here, I could see this
And the probes
expansion
are being transferred.
falling.
Yeah, the probes are just on their way as well, so they might be caught in this attack. It's quite a lot of probes also. It's like,
Yeah, we'll have to see the reaction time on these probes because, yeah, this is a big commitment sending all your probes onto this base without any kind of reinforcement coming here either. Maybe
yeah,
the
the army
probes will just
starts.
transfer away though. We'll see.
Zombie is very, very slow to actually send units,
Yeah.
so he might lose a lot of probes now. These are cracklings now, and of course,
Yeah.
Ultralist is also not so bad at killing probes.
So it looks like we're seeing a pro massacre here at this fourth base. So Yavolo finding a way back into this game through the use of Dark Swarm, and of course Ultralisks are also good.
Yeah, definitely at least 2 mistakes by Zombie there. One was not to pull the probes away, because if you just click them back to your natural or something, then you lose much less probes there. And also not sending his army to deal with it. He somehow didn't respect the attack. He
Yeah.
has the army, so yeah.
So we
We
see
see the
some.
attack on the bottom left,
Mhm.
which looks again like Zombie has enough army here to clear it out. But again, he doesn't have an observer, unless I'm blind.
No, I don't see an observer here in the bottom left either, but it is enough Dragoons to get the hatch, and now they are kind of backing off. And at the same time, there was still more fighting happening at that fourth base location for Protoss, as we see Protoss is actually now mined out, essentially. They do have quite a bit of income in banked minerals, I guess. Not income, but resources.
Yeah.
So they will be able to stay in the game, but they are on a timer here. They need to establish a new base. Maybe they should take a page out of Zerg's book and just take this mineral only that's close to them as well. They're going to be gas starved, but they need to get some kind of resources, ASAP.
Yeah, I think the 3 o'clock base was a good idea. Um, I'm not sure. There's no probe or anything being sent there yet. This is kind of an important thing that Zombie should be focusing on right now to get his mining back up, because he has all of these probes idling around that can't mine. Getting those to work again should be #1 priority right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Zumpy may end up keeping up their army here. It looks like they're moving together a little bit here. And if they can get an observer, they may be able to push onto this. Oh, and the observers are running right into Scourge, and so he lost both of his observers. The lurker is getting stormed somewhat. This looks actually kind of bad for Protoss here, I think.
Yeah,
They do have a
he
few
has his,
goons.
yeah, and his Nexus building on the 3 o'clock, so eventually he will be mining again. But if we look again on the workers, Yavolo has increased ever so slightly his workers from 30, as I was criticizing them earlier, to 37.
Mm-hmm.
And more importantly, he has now 3 bases that are really mining quite decently if you look at the situation. So he's doing well in the economy.
Mm-hmm. We see another attack here going into the middle left base, I guess.
Yeah. And that's really strong how Zampi splits the army. The right part is doing great work and stopping the Volo's army of defending.
Yeah,
Great
so in
storm
this case,
there.
splitting the army has worked out, but it looks like the speed, the cracklings, essentially, are going to get right on top of these goons, and if they can clear this Archon, they'll be able to take out this
Base
army.
is gone.
Yeah, the base is gone, as you said, so that definitely Zumpy able to do their damage here and take out that base, leaving Zerg to only minimal mining for the time being.
Yeah, and Yavolo is committing all his army now to the top right. If Zampi could just attack into this only or this mineral only base of the Zerg, he could actually kill this base, and it's a very important base for the Zerg. His natural is barely still mining. Almost all minerals are mined out. So a decisive attack now into that mineral only would put Zerg in a game-losing position, I think. And the other thing is, I mentioned priority number 1 is to get those probes working again. We already have accomplished objective 1 to build a nexus at a mineral place. So now we need to send all of those workers there. Maybe even escort them.
Yeah, Zumpy doing some work with the Reaver here, trying to take out this mineral-only base, but taking their time, and it looks like Zerg is going to be able to reinforce with an Ultralisk and quite a few cracklings.
The High Templar, no, that was full of energy. But this is just enough Protoss army. He realizes it now. He, of course, doesn't have enough stuff at the end, but he really could break this, I think. But he doesn't have any storms, and the cracklings are coming in.
Yeah, this is scary for Protoss. Forced to retreat here. They don't have any zealots to really guard these dragoons, and so the cracklings are getting right on top of them, forcing them farther and farther back, and now surrounding quite a few of them.
But most importantly, now the probes are being transferred. So finally we might get some mining again of Protoss.
But Zerg definitely saw the probes being transferred, and so most likely this will allow them to know where to counterattack.
Yeah. Protoss should definitely consolidate his army around this new base. It is the most important base. He definitely should have a storm there. Like right now, he has on his mined out mineral only base. There's some units and still some probes. He should send those. And in front of his net, there's some storms. He should at least add 1 or 2 storms into his base so that he can defend any attempts to deny his only mining base.
Yeah, this game is getting very scrappy. We see fighting going on all over the map. Here on the top left, or in the top right base, I guess we should say, Zerg is finally making their attack known, sending in their Zerglings and Hydralisks. So they were able to clear out those 3 cannons, and now it's a matter of what Protoss can do to reinforce. As you were saying, the Storm is not in position. So now the Reavers have to come to reinforce.
He'll manage to hold it. That's of course the most important part. And hopefully he can secure the base a little bit more by leaving some army there.
Yeah, so now we have Zumpy taking the bottom left, and Yovolo kind of must know about it, sending units in that direction. But this is all going to kind of relieve pressure on the rightmost base because Zumpy is forcing their army over here to the left, and they're actually fighting against all these cannons here at the middle only, which is mined out. Not sure about
Yeah,
this
this is not
attack.
worth. Yeah, Zampi should have just abandoned that base completely, and yeah, Volo should have realized that it's not worth anything anymore.
Yeah, if Yuvolo wants to go into the main, though, that's actually worth something, I think. I could see that
Definitely.
attack being very effective here. As Protoss kind of spread very thin, is forced to defend their last mining base, which, as
Oh,
you
the High
said, is so
Templars.
important. And yeah, now all these 4 High Templar are getting cut off. One Storm gets away.
Yeah. The Reaver probably can defend. Yeah. Good Scarab there.
But the Zergling does get one probe before it's cleaned up. And now I think things have swung in favor of Zerg. Protoss has this one mining base, but they have almost no army, and they definitely don't have map control right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it is really swung. I have the feeling that it's pretty even right now because Zerg is almost mined out, the mineral only as well. The
Mm-hmm.
probe count is very low. There's a lot of idle drones in the natural of Zerg that he should definitely be transferring to his only mining base or to the newly built, soon to be newly built base. Yeah, I think right now Protoss is out mining Zerg and might even be in an advantage. Yeah,
Well, here goes. Zerg is just, sending the house right now, sending all their units. And right now it's getting stormed, and these Archons are cleaning up everything. This Ultralisk really should have led the way. And it looks like this attack is going to fail horribly here for Zerg. And if
yeah,
Protoss is able to hold on, this Ultralisk is taking a lot of shots though. But if Protoss holds on to this base and defends this attack, I think they're in an advantageous position now. They definitely take out that Ultralisk, and what does Zerg have left? They have 20 workers, but that's almost all their supply.
yeah. And three zealots going to the newly built hatchery on 9 o'clock, so they might be able to shut this down. There's one lurker running for the rescue, but there's nothing else that's even attempting to save the space. And this lurker won't save it if the zealots just focus down the hatch, they can do it, or they can kill the lurker first. I guess there's even an observer to make things spicy.
Yeah, that Lurker was definitely not counting on an observer to be in the area, but it looks like they were able to destroy that hatchery.
Even a Reaver joins
Oh
the
man,
fight now. Yeah, so Zerg finally transfers his drones to the mineral only, but that's only 7 patches and they are very low. So now I think that Protoss is looking really, really good. If he keeps that bottom left base alive, then definitely he has this game. I think. These games are hard to call. You
they're
swear
very
they're hard
hard
to
to call. Yeah, it's going back and forth. But
Yeah.
I would have to agree. Zumpy up in supply almost 3 times as much, so a good position.
Yeah, and if there's one thing that I would say to Zampi, like what he can improve. I feel like he should try and group up his army on like 1, 2, 3 on the hotkeys and move it more as a unit. There were so many scrappy fights with like 2 dragoons and 1 archon and
Yeah.
1 zealot and no observer somewhere. If he had like 3 hotkeys with his units grouped up, then he would be so much more fear inspiring with his army.
Mhm.
And maybe the other thing is to focus on what's really important and put some army in like in vital bases, like his 3 o'clock base. Now with the Reaver and the Archon, it's almost impenetrable.
Mhm.
But before he lost it to like one control group of Lings and 2 Hydras because there were only 3 cannons.
Yeah.
He didn't spare a unit. Yeah. But I think he has this game, and then we'll see how.
Well, maybe he's sending 4 High Templar, and they are kind of unprotected here, and it looks like they're
That's
all
bad
going to get
weather.
taken out by yeah, some bad weather there.
Yeah, that's again the army grouping, I guess. But he doesn't have a lot of army right now, so maybe that's the wrong thing to say.
Yeah, Zumpy being very annoying with these shuttle and the Weaver Dark Templar mix here. It's definitely got to be tough for Yavolo to clean that up with just Zerglings so far.
Yeah, and he's making some salads now and some dragoons. So yeah, I think his army is a little bit too fancy with only Reaver and High Templar right now. You need a little bit of meat and potatoes. You can't just have the tiramisu only. But Zerg is still,
Oh,
mining out.
mining out. Yeah, what a game.
Yeah,
Definitely a battle there on
yeah. We
Polaris.
asked for a long one, and we definitely got it.
Okay, so that's it for game 2. Let's get into game number 3 on Fighting Spirit.
Okay, the game deciding game number 3 between Yavolo and Zumpi. In the top left, in red, we have Yavolo.
Yeah, and in the top right, as the green Protoss, we have Zumpy.
And what I'm most interested to see in these early stages now, will Yavolo play a normal overpool, or will he again do this weird 11-12 pool, or was it a mistake last game? I think it was a mistake, but we'll see if he does it again, then it must be intentional, right? And I guess from Sampi, we are expecting to see the Forge expand again. That has been his standard build in both of these last games.
Yeah, Fighting Spirit, a great map for a deciding match, I think. It's very standard. All those builds you mentioned are viable. So
Yeah,
here we
and we see
see.
the standard overpool from
Okay.
Yavolo. So this time he didn't build drones before the pool.
So this goes back to that first game where Zumpy died from the initial 6 lings. Or not died, but took a lot of damage and ended up GGing. So let's see. Here's the Forge Expand coming out from Zumpy. They have not yet scouted Yavolo.
Yeah, and I don't really like the scouting pattern of Sampi. Normally, what you do, if you don't scout your opponent on the first position with the pylon scout, which he didn't because he scouted to bottom right, then you send the probe that builds the forge to the other base. So this is a 4-player specific thing, but then your probes both arrive at the 2 remaining positions at the same time, and then you can build this nexus first, because against the overpool you would want to build the nexus first, and he's missing out on that because he didn't know
Yeah.
to scout like that.
So he didn't double scout, which is what you were suggesting, which is
Exactly.
a Terran strategy too versus Zerg. But I can see it being effective here as Protoss, just getting a good timing so that you know exactly what Zerg is doing. Here we see Zerg being a little aggressive with that first scouting drone, actually. And here are the first Lings heading out to meet that probe, and they actually pick it off before any real scouting is done.
Yeah.
So I wonder how Zumpy's going to react to that. That's definitely not what you want to see as Protoss losing that first probe to like 4 Lings.
Definitely, and there were 6 lings he doesn't even know, so I don't think it was a a mind play, but Javolo was hiding 2 links in space, and now he has even 2 more, so that's 8 links. We definitely need to see a second cannon against 8 links, or like the best probe block ever, but Zampi
Ooh.
hasn't showed us promise in that regard yet.
A couple probes do make their way though to the nat wall, and that first
Yeah,
probe that
like it.
saw the Zergling amount or group is making its way around the Zergling group, and it's going to try to get a scout off. So at least there is hope for Zumpy if Yavola does decide to go in here. But Yavola, as we've seen, has played a pretty passive game, and it looks like they're taking their third.
Here come the links.
Oh, and as I say that, yeah, here come the links.
Yeah.
So they made their way through that wall pretty easily, I gotta say.
And the salad is only half done. There's no cannon in the main, so the links have their choice in picking there. Can attack some probes. All of the probes are being pulled here, so it's a bit of a duel between the links and the probes, but the links seem to be winning so far.
Yeah, some of these probes are actually kind of bugging out here on this cannon. Here comes the first zealot, but this pylon's gonna get taken out, unpowering the cannon. Somehow that cannon is still finishing.
Yeah, I think it continues to build, but it just doesn't shoot.
Okay.
It doesn't need power to build, it needs power to shoot.
Oh, okay. And look at this drone that's still in the Protoss base.
Yeah, he's gonna build a hatch.
Yeah, so we could even see a hatch in here.
Yeah, but the probe, the cannon finishes now, so Protoss is safe, but Protoss is also at the same time super behind. Like, he doesn't have a lot of workers. He lost too many probes there.
Yeah, no workers here at the NAT expansion to saturate that base, and really only 14 in the main, so not a lot of mining going on here for Protoss. They were set behind a lot by this, again, Zergling aggression from Yavolo. So this is where it gets really hard as Protoss. How do you get your way back into the game? You're having trouble even mining gas right now.
Yeah, you definitely need that salad out so that you can chase the links maybe. Yeah, it's really tough. You're really far behind. I feel like the walling situation, some people should definitely look at how to wall on the maps that are played in CPL. Like, look at how a good player places down his wall, because this setup with the forge and the gate there, we saw the links just run by on the left because it isn't tight there. Yeah, it's not a good setup the way it's laid out. Usually you want the gate a little bit above the forge because that's a link tight, and you want to have as few as possible gaps where links can go through. And you need to know where those gaps are so that you can plug them with a salad or with a probe in the earlier stages. Yeah, I feel like Zampi is struggling in these really early stages where his wall really needs to buy him the time to live against the Zerglings.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It looks like the Forge Expand has not really worked out so well for Zumpy in this series so far, anyway. And it's definitely going to be hard to get back into the game with just, one gateway production of Zealots. We do see a Corsair out now, though, so he may be able to get some scouting off on your Volo and see exactly what the Zerg has been up to this time.
Yeah, and Zampi is following up with a +1 speed. I think that's the idea anyway. Speed hasn't started yet, +1 has started, but speed is quite fast upgrade, so you can start it a bit later than the +1, and there's 2 gates going up. So the plan is to overwhelm or to get a overwhelming number of zealots that can't really be stopped by Zerglings, because the +1 allows them to trade very efficiently against Zerglings. The problem here is that Yavolo is very far ahead and has already Hydras with upgrades, so yeah, this game is going to end.
Yeah, we see the Zerg breaking down that front wall, and Protoss calls it there.
GG. Yeah. I really think like the first and the third game were completely lost due to not understanding right how to wall and how to block that wall with a few probes. Like Zampi should work on that, and I think that would already give him a lot of success, because if you get behind like that in the early game, then yeah, you can't really expect to win from that point. Very hard. Okay, but it was definitely good games, and especially the second game was a really good and competitive game, going very long.
Okay, so we can get into our next series for Tier 1 matches from Week 4 between Flying SCVs and Fear Factory.
Mhm. Who are next two players, and I can tell them.
So our next two players are going to be Exo and Mike Couch Pulls Out.
Mike Couch Pulls Out.
Yeah, you got it. That's the name.
Let's see if I can find him on the Discord. Is it Mike with a C or with a K?
It's just my MY.
Ah, okay, Mike. Okay, it's now I have it. Okay, I found them.
All right, then I'm going to start the game and we can get into this first match, which will be on Ascension.
Okay, with Fear Factory leading 1-0, we have representing Fear Factory the Protoss player. My Couch Pulls Out in red in the 12 o'clock position on Ascension.
Yeah, and then, so I guess it would be representing the Flying SCVs. We have Exo playing as the Terran player here, and they are in the bottom right on Ascension.
Mm-hmm. Good TVP. That's not my strongest matchup knowledge-wise, but we'll see if I can give some useful insights.
Well, so far, both players building in their base, so it doesn't look like we're going to see a proxy gateway coming out from my Couch Pulls Out, so we're not going to see any kind of early zealots so far anyway. And then Exo electing not to wall, so just going to build this depot right next to their command center, try to get a little bit of SimCity going most likely. And there is the Gateway Scout, it looks like, coming out from our red Protoss. So they are maybe gonna go see the Terran starting location here and see if they took their gas or if they went for a fast expand build. And it looks like from Exo we are gonna see them take their gas. So they may be going for a factory expand, something following off of that. And it doesn't look like we're gonna see a pylon here for Protoss, so they are getting their assimilator next, which should lead me to believe there will be like a cybernetics core coming out here to use the gas from this assimilator.
That sounds like a strong guess. I have a question for you. What do you think My Couch Pulls Out refers to? What is the couch pulling? What
You
is
know,
this name?
because it is the Coach-Pupil League, I thought it was my coach pulls out. I don't know why I thought
Ah,
that. I'm not sure. Pull
I
like
was
a pull-out
thinking.
bed.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like a guest couch that you can pull out to make it to transform it to a bed.
Yeah, so it's like a welcoming screen name, right? It's saying
Yeah.
like, come on over, let's have a sleepover.
Yeah. Let's play.
So two guys on gas for EXO, and so it looks like they are gonna maybe get another factory or look to expand here. We can't really tell so far, but the probe is making their way into the Terran base, so they're gonna have just as good view as we have right now of what Terran is doing. They're seeing the factory is finished or is almost finishing. And there's only,
What's that
oh,
second probe
there's the
doing?
second factory.
What's this mischief probe there?
Yeah, I wonder what this is because they are scouting at two factories, so maybe they want to proxy a gateway here. But I'm not sure. I think this might be too late considering the two fact is going to hit them. If they're proxying a robo or something, that might be a little too late. Maybe DT's being proxied? We'll see. Yeah, here's
I'm
a second
interested to see
gateway
it, yeah.
going down for my couch pulls out. So they've got two gates now. So they should be able to counter this two fact. Really, once they scout your two fact and they put two gateways down, it comes down to control, tanks against dragoons. But most of the time, if Protoss doesn't expand, they can get enough goons out to shut down your two fact. And we do see a proxy robotics. So it looks like there will be a Reaver play coming in here, which can also be very effective against two fact because that fast Reaver is so microable.
Is it
Microable.
normal to have so few Marines with a two factory push? I always assume that you get a couple more Marines to buffer when you play a aggressive two factory.
Yeah, I would say this is about the right amount. Some
Okay.
builds they even have only as low as 3, but it is a stylistic thing. I guess getting less Marines
Did
means
I
you're
just
getting
drop
more
or did you just drop?
SCVs.
Ah, there you're back. Okay.
Oh,
Your audio suddenly glitched, but it seems to be working again.
okay.
Yeah, maybe it was my internet, but it seems fine now. So we have 3 tanks, and then he's gonna go for vultures next. Mines are being researched, but I don't think vulture speed is being researched. Been researched so
Yeah,
far.
I think it will be siege mode next here. And here comes the push. So this is what's scary for Protoss. They've invested in this robotics and this robotics support bay, and most likely
Yeah.
they will be building a Reaver, but that's not going to be in time to hold this push, I don't think. They need to really buy time with their Dragoons. And right now, Terran is just making a beeline straight for Protoss, not really stopping, not grouping up. Okay, now they may group up a little bit. And Protoss has this ridge to micro on. They're going to get on top of these tanks. So one tank it goes down. Here comes the second tank. It needs to get pulled back. Oh, and it just survives with 1 HP or 1 hit left, essentially.
Okay, here the first mines being planted. Maybe it would have been nice to plant some mines beforehand, like to scout where is the Protoss army and put some mines between them and the tanks. Was a bit unfortunate how the goons could get on top of the tanks so easily there.
Yeah,
But
and
this
now
push is
he's.
really scary.
Yeah, this push is doing its job. It's taking out a lot of Dragoons. And these mines have really stopped the 4 Dragoons that we initially saw from re-engaging with this Terran army. And here comes
siege wall
Terran,
was completed.
yeah, sieging up. The Reaver is about 3/4 done, but that's not in time. Here we see probes are being focused down by these vultures. A mine takes out. Oh, the Dragoon makes its way past the mine, and is actually going to be able to take out that tank.
That's big. There's no tank coming anymore, so that was the only tank. And these vultures probably can't enter the base, so now it's up to the Reaver that's moving its way into that very vulnerable mineral line. Let's see if there's any reaction here from EXO.
Ooh. So
Not
each of these
yet.
hits is brutal, taking out 4 or 5 SCVs with each of those initial shots.
Yeah, but
And
he's still up in workers, so far the numbers are dropping, but they're still above.
yeah, the lack of anti-air here is going to prove very tough for Terran to deal with, as they are down to now 14 workers, and they're losing more and more. There are some tanks out though, so they can finally at least counterattack against this Reaver, and it's not just like, you know, happy season or open season, I should say.
Yeah.
Oh, and here the Reaver is landing again. It's only down to 33 HP actually, so one more shot from the tank should be able to get it out of here. Oh, 2 more shots. And there we go. So the Reaver is done. We look at the game now. The worker counts are about even. I would actually favor Terran because they do have the 2 expansions now. So they should be able
But
to
there's a
rebuild their worker count.
Yeah, but there's a second Reaver already being loaded into the shuttle, and
Ooh.
there really isn't any anti-air yet. So the second Reaver might also be able to do some work,
Yes,
I
I
feel.
think you're right about that. It doesn't look like there's any reaction to this Reaver. In fact, the Terran is right now targeting their Vulture, so they lose that tank. And with no turrets up, this Reaver can kind of just float around from each base and pick off any spare SCVs that they see, as long as they don't land on these mines.
Yeah, they already forced the pull. They maybe should go back into the main now.
Oh, taking
Not
a
that
lot
all
of
the SCVs
damage.
are there. Yeah, but he's making the next Reaver as well. So even when he loses that, he'll come with another one. The shuttle's not taking damage, so
Yeah, that's a good point. He may try to land directly on this tank, and it triggers the mine, which kills both of them. Suicide Weaver right there.
there's a fresh tank too. So at least tanks are coming back at the same rate that the Reavers are, it seems.
Yeah, very low eco game we're seeing here. Protoss now making their move across the map, sending their Dragoons across, trying to put more pressure onto a Terran. But without observers, it's going to be hard for them to get into the Terran base here, as there are still some mines out on the map.
Okay, the first turret might finish now, and that would definitely make it harder for the Reaver to just fly around.
So he
Shuttle.
suicided one Goon in there to take all the mines, and here comes the shuttle. Oh, and he gets taken out by that turret.
Yeah, one turret. Pretty strong.
Yes. Instantly shuts down this Reaver harass with that one turret. But there is a bunch of Dragoons on top of this worker line at the net. So Terran really being spread thin here against all this harass from Protoss.
But he has 5 workers more than Protoss, and he has the base. There's no Nexus even building yet, for the no second Nexus. So I think, at least until the Reaver comes again, and he needs a shuttle, so it's a bit longer this time. I think it's looking good now for Terran. He's even floating his barracks over towards that Reaver, so he might figure it out and shut it down, maybe send some units there eventually to kill it.
Yeah. So here comes the barracks to scout, and it's going to see that there is a Reaver out right now. EXO, their options though to punish this, I would say they're kind of contained right now, it looks like anyway, by these Dragoons. So it's going to be hard for them to get an army over to that location. They're building a ring of missile turrets now to try to defend their base.
Okay, that's the shields off the turret, of the shuttle. Let's see if it flies through the next. Yep.
Oh,
Okay, that's one
wow.
shot. One shot left.
So the shuttle did miraculously survive that kind of run through the missile turrets.
Mm.
It's gonna at
But I
least.
think that, yeah, Exo's looking really strong now. He has a 10 worker lead. He has a base lead still. My couch pulls out. Has almost got his nexus up, but of course 10 workers lead is great.
Yeah, it's really going to be interesting to see where these players take this. They've been stuck on this same kind of tech for a long time. We haven't seen any advances like an armory could be good to combat this Reaver technology. Um, Even, I guess, taking an academy to just try to get some scouting out. You don't really know what Protoss is up to. We see a Vulture now making its way to Protost's third base, and they're going to be happy with what they see when they see there is no Nexus there, and most likely they will be able to take out this probe. Let's see.
Yeah. Isn't it like absolutely necessary to get upgrades as a Terran player? Like, wouldn't you be having armories right now for your mech army?
Yeah, you would definitely ideally get that. Now, with the two fact push, you're not going for upgrades, you're going for a timing. But after that timing, which we've seen, that timing has been over. You know, that's when you do need to transition to the armory and the upgrade style play. Here's a siege
Yeah,
tank. Can it range down this robotics? It doesn't look like it's going to be able to do it.
I would be very impressed.
Oh, there you go. Are you impressed with our Terran tech?
Very impressed.
We've
Yeah,
come up with these guns that shoot a long way.
indeed.
What will they come up with next?
Mm. Yeah,
Oh,
I
that's
feel
awesome.
like Exo's plan right now should be that he gets some upgrades and uh, a nice army with a good composition, then does a deadly push. I think that would be ideally the plan because he is ahead economically, but maybe right now he just doesn't have all the puzzle pieces in place to push right now. But if he just keeps trucking and building units and some upgrades, he should be extremely strong when he hits his stride.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. I think EXO can decide even now if they want to take that third base. They have the units to kind of make a little push. There's only a few Dragoons and potentially a Reaver defending it. So that would be a wise strategy for them as well. It does look like they are going into their double armory upgrades. So they will be going for, like you said, a later game with hopefully a
That's good.
big death push coming in at some point here. But we do see, yeah, this opportunity for Terran to upgrade, and they may end up going here. They've got 4 factories, so they could be aggressive with just these 4 factories. They're ahead of the Protoss gateway count. So there's no reason they can't just try to end the game right now if they wanted to.
Hmm.
And it looks like they are kind of moving across the map. They're laying some mines here at this third base location. But Protoss is reinforcing with some Dragoons and an Observer. They do get these goons caught out of position and isolated. And here comes a tank with some a shuttle with some Zealots, triggering some mines on those tanks.
Yeah, the famous Zealot bombs.
Yes, very effective. A lot of Terrans are afraid of those Zealot bombs, rightfully so.
Do you think the Terran player should be looking to expand or simply to push?
Well, here's the big engagement going on, and it looks like GG is called by
Okay.
Mike, so they settled it for us.
Yeah, that's a bit surprising, but I guess armies wise, he's losing his army and he's not matching the economy. He's still on 2 base. Maybe he feels like he neither can stop this push nor he can't out macro. He doesn't have the base count either.
Yeah, he definitely could not stop that push. I think they tried to take their best battle they could, which was on top of that high ground. Um, yeah, but Terran was definitely ahead in that game.
Hmm.
Let's get into this next one. I'm gonna have to be right back for 1 minute.
Okay. I feel like the 2 factory push, if that had been executed a little bit better, like especially these goons on the side, if somehow the vultures could have scouted that, there are goons there, maybe put down some mines, maybe pull the tanks a little bit away from those goons, then it would have been possible to actually do really good game-ending damage with the 2 factory push, because that the strategy of going for the proxy reaver, I don't think that should work. I mean, if the 2 factory push, that's a really scary push. I don't think that the Protoss can really hold it with what he had. I might be wrong. I'm not the Protoss expert. Maybe you can hold it with 2 gates and get the Reavers on the side, but it looked pretty deadly to me. Like just a few micro adjustments there, and you end the game basically. That one tank that died to the dragoon. If that hadn't died, then yeah, you kill all of the
Yeah.
probes. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the proxy weaver is not really the best reaction to two fact. I think just if there was a ramp, maybe you can hold your main.
Mm.
But let's get into our next match. So here we are in match number 2 between these two players, Exo and Mike. Couch pulls out. We have Exo here as our green Terran in the top left.
And in the bottom right, trailing 0-1, it is my couch pulls out, who invites anyone who wants to come visit. He will pull out his couch. There will be ample opportunity to sleep.
Yes, and already we see them sending their initial probe, one of their first probes, out into the middle of the map. So this is leading me to
Proxy
believe,
gate.
yeah, there will be a proxy gateway most likely here
Mhm.
to kind of put some pressure on, get some zealots out, and see what they can do against the Terrence Marine Micro. And so here is a good location for that proxy gateway, I guess.
Mhm.
But there is a
Yeah, I think,
wall.
yeah, looks like there's going to be a wall. I think the typical scouting path is over the bridge. Like if you just click an SCV to the bottom right as Terran, you won't see that location where the gate is going to go down. So that's, I guess, a good spot to hide it a little bit. Yeah, we'll have to see how that matches up with the wall that we suspect there will be.
Yeah, it looks like Terran Exo is going to be placing a wall with a depot, a barracks, and then most likely their third depot. And here we have 2 gateways, so this is a big investment. So when Protoss puts their probe into the Terran main, they're going to see this wall is being constructed. They need to block it with a pylon, in my opinion. If they don't, this whole 2 zealot thing they're going for is not going to do any damage. So we'll see if they
Hmm.
are able to block it with a pylon, or if the wall starts going up. But if the wall finishes and all you have is zealots, the wall can just be repaired. Come on, place a pylon in there, dude. I'm not seeing a pylon. This is not going to look good for Protoss, I don't think.
Yeah,
There's the
and
pylon. Okay.
does it block
I'm
the
not
wall? It
sure
doesn't
what
look like.
that pylon's doing, actually. Yeah, it doesn't block anything. There's no add-ons for Terran barracks, so it's not blocking that either. And we
And
do
if there
see.
were, they would be on the right, right?
Yes.
That's always on the right.
Yeah, so
The probe
maybe
is
this is
going
going to be
down.
a shield battery or something. I'm not sure what this pylon's doing. Here's actually a bunker even, so Terran is all over this. They are still mining gas, which they don't really need to be mining gas. Here's a gateway.
Yeah.
Yep, so that's just not even really a play, I don't think. Here's the first Zealot, and GG is cold, so that was a really
Yeah.
quick game.
Yeah, it looks like my couch pulls out was maybe a little bit tilted. Yeah, the strategy itself, the double forward gates already very all in. And then it didn't seem like he practiced that build a lot. He didn't know to block the wall, to build a pylon to block the completion of the wall. Yeah, and he didn't seem in it with his heart. Maybe the first game somehow made him think he can't win it in a normal game.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely a very interesting game going for that kind of a build. I'm gonna show that game if anyone asks, should I wall or not? It's like, yeah, just wall. That was a free win because of the wall, I think.
Yeah,
Definitely
definitely.
made it easier to collect that win for EXO. So EXO takes that win, and
Yeah,
now we are
and now
on.
it's 1-1 for at least in the matches we saw between flying SCVs and the Fear factory. So now we see in the bottom left side of Ascension Ash Ball playing the dark gray Zerg pieces.
Yeah, and in the bottom right, we see Kazaki Renko playing as Orange Terran.
I'm writing the announcement in the chat so that everybody knows.
Here, I'll turn this music sound on.
Okay, so 1-1 between Fear Factory and Flying SCVs. And in this match, Zerg player Ash Ball is representing Fear Factory, and his opponent, the Terran, is Katsaki. Ranko is representing Flying SCVs. So, yeah, let's see how it will go. I think as Flying SCVs are doing a little bit better in the standings right now, you would expect them to do well in this, but yeah, we'll have to see. So far, it's one apiece. Looking at the build from Ashbal, we have 12 hatchery, I would assume. The drone is being sent out a little bit late. It will arrive 4 or 5 seconds later than it should. So definitely something you can adjust. Send that drone out once you just then send it 3-4 seconds earlier. Then you'll have it on time. And as Hawks always says in his Circ tutorial videos, it doesn't really hurt to send it a little bit early. You don't lose a lot, maybe just 1 or 2 mining trips if your drone is sent too early. But you lose a lot if you send it too late, because when the hatchery is late, you lose lava and mining capabilities and sunken placement capabilities, maybe even. So yeah, send it early. Yeah, and
So we
otherwise
see.
on the
Mhm.
you go ahead.
Yeah, on the Terran side of things, Renko has placed a supply depot and barracks at their NAT expansion wall. So that it looks like they're going to build a wall here. And they've actually added a command center and a gas. So definitely a more eco-heavy build from Terran. And they're going to be playing more for the later game, as it looks like they're mining their gas, and they're going to be potentially placing either a factory or an engineering bay here to try to get their upgrades going.
Hmm. Yeah, I think as a Zerg player, when I see a wall like this and then I try to scout to see if he's building marines all the time. If he isn't, then I assume that there's a vulture coming and I place down a sunken colony. So let's see how Ash Ball does it. The build he's gone for is maybe a little bit less common in today's era. He's gone for the 3 hatchery. So you place down your 3rd hatchery before you
Mm-hmm.
start to build the gas. It leads to a little bit later tech, but you can get more drones and better production because you have an extra hatchery. And it used to be the standard build until Zergs figured out that it's maybe not as aggressive as they like it. So today's era is more about the 2 hatchery builds, but 3 hatch is still a very viable and flexible build.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
we
we.
see that
Mhm.
sunken going up, so definitely Baal is respecting the possibility of a vulture.
As he should, because it looks like there is a factory that's just now finished, but we do see actually 2 starports going down as soon as the factory finishes before any kind of vulture comes out onto play. So this
2
is going to
port
be,
play.
yeah, 2-port Wraith play.
Yeah.
Actually, is that 3 starports
Three
now?
three. 3 starports.
So we're
We're gonna
just,
see a lot of wraiths.
yes. And it's going to be up to Ball to decide how they counter. It looks like they will go for some Spire play though.
Yeah, so wraith play is actually pretty rare nowadays from Terrans. I don't encounter it much on the ladder, anyways. But can be a very abusive build, and it can be a very snowbally build.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you don't expect it, wraiths are very very mobile, very similar to mutas. Maybe not quite as tanky as mutas, but they can do damage and they can be extremely. They're very microable, a
Mm-hmm.
very nimble unit. So it can be really tough. They can decimate echo lines, they can kill overload super quick, and of course they also have the cloak. So if you are caught unaware, then it can snowball from a Zerg perspective really hard, and you're just supply blocked all the time and losing drones um, to these invisible units flying around.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
what is Zerg doing? They're adding on a bunch of lings, and it looks like they're getting an Evo chamber. So this may lead them to build spores if they see these rates, right? The spores could help
I
them.
think I think he's going. I think he still hasn't understood what he's up against. I
That's
think he's
true.
just doing like a standard 3 hatchery muta build, but he wants to do crazy Zerg, I think. So he's getting like a really fast carapace upgrade for his Ultralisks. But of course, this is all him assuming he's playing a normal game against the bio, but he's not. So yeah, I guess he didn't see the vulture, so he thinks, okay, if it's not a vulture, then it's bio. But yeah, it could be this crazy wraith thing.
Yeah, so here come the rates. The cloak has been upgraded, so they are making their way across the map in the direction of the Zerg base, and they are going to engage with Zerg and see that Zerg only really has some Mutalisks out that can counter these Wraiths. So it's going to come down to control here, and the Wraiths are just going flying in. Here they cloaked. There was a few Overlords around them, though, so they did take some shots. And now,
Yeah,
yeah, I think there's enough Mutas here that they're really not afraid of this many Wraiths right now.
yeah, but there's no overlord speed, so the wraiths might find pockets where the cloak can help them. But definitely, mutas are the better brawler. So raids are a very technical unit. You don't really want to just ram them against the mutas and hope for the best.
Yeah, Mutas have a lot more HP, and they are similar in their movement speed, as we're seeing the Mutas chase these Wraiths around here.
Yeah, this looks pretty bad actually for the Terran player. The race weren't surprise. Like, maybe they were surprising, but their surprise didn't actually result in anything. They actually took heavy damage when they first were shown. And now Baal has a great economy from his 3 bases. He's over 30 drones, and he can afford to get some extra spores. He's droning heavily, and he has the mutas to actually fight the race. So he's winning these trades.
Yeah, and this is the kind of fight where once you have an overwhelming number, which it looks like Ball does, you just trade so much more efficiently against the Wraiths. So only one Wraith left now for Renko, which has been a large investment for them in this game. So they are switching over. It looks like they're going for more barracks here.
Mm, this is a disaster. I mean, if you're going for 3 starport wraith and you don't not only don't you get anything done with that, like no drones killed, no overlords killed, but you even lose the wraiths, that's really rough. Meanwhile, we have the hive going. It's already halfway done for Baal. So he's also not even sticking on these mutalisks. He's going for all the right things that will be able to work against the bio that is coming. He has this super early +1 carapace that is already done, and he's already working on +2. Meanwhile, he's kind of winning the air.
Well, we did see all the
He's not
mutas
winning
go
the air.
down there. So
Yeah.
there's 4 Wraiths left on the field. Not really enough to do overwhelming damage, as I don't think they even managed to pick off one Overlord here. Uh,
Yeah.
but still
Just on
winning
the
the battle
force.
at least as reset the mutas count. So this is some of the damage they were hoping for when they went for these Wraiths. But yeah, like you said, mutas just are the better like brawler type unit, and so I think they're going to be able, if he keeps fighting head to head with Wraith against Muta, I think the Muta will be all right in this game, as they are
Yeah.
maybe easy to replenish. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean every Zerg lava can be morphed into a mutalisk, and when you have 4 hatcheries right now, right?
Hmm.
Then that's a lot of larva, so you can produce a lot of mutalisks. Meanwhile, the Terran player needs a specific production building to build wraiths, so he can only make 3 right now, which is a lot anyways to have 3 starports at this point.
Hmm. So Terran is finally now getting some drone kills, taking a few out at the Zerg main. And they are, yeah, building up that bio ball. So they've got up to five barracks now. And they're adding on the control towers, so they may switch into vessels and bio here, it looks like.
Overload speed has been done for a while now, so that negates the cloak ability, kind of. Especially if you have enough overlords that you bring along. Also, Zerg has been mining from this base in the top for a while now. So he has a spore there. He's relatively safe against the Wraith. And the bio ball is about to get rolling, I think.
Hopefully.
Yeah, looks like it should be enough units now to at least try something. But I fear that, yeah, the window of opportunity is not very large. The only advantage is there's no lurkers, because this is indeed crazy Zerg. So I don't think lurker was upgraded, and then there aren't any lurkers. So maybe the bio ball can do some damage before the ultralisks actually come out, because the ultralisk cavern is done researching the armor upgrade, but there aren't any ultralisks yet.
So we do see 3 Starport BC production now beginning for Terran. So they figure the Wraiths didn't end the game, time for some BCs. And they are taking their third base behind this, but here comes the bio ball pushing in here. The Sunkens aren't really morphed just yet, but they do get annihilated by all those Zerglings.
Yeah. Those 1-2 upgraded Zerglings are actually trading really strong against this bio that's 0-0. If the first Ultra comes out, he will be single-handedly, he would be only tickled by the Marines. And I fear that the Wraith won't do any better either. Do they do more damage than Marines?
Yeah,
I
it
guess
feels like they don't, right?
yeah, they don't shoot very fast, but I think the single shots at least should pierce slightly through the armor of an Ultralisk. Okay, but he finds his top base and there's actually no Sunkens there, no Circlings there. So that's a small win on the board for Terran if he can deny this. He's even expanding behind it in the main.
Yeah, expanding over to this location as well. So very,
cheeky.
Yeah, cheeky.
Yeah, but the armor upgrade for the Ultralisks is done, and
there's a lot of them out on the map right now too, compared to this Marine medic count for Kentucky Renko.
Yeah, and as we said, 0-0 Marines. Okay, they have a +1 upgrade now, but that's absolutely unplayable against these 4 armor, 1+4 armor Ultralisks. The Marines are doing 7 per shot, but since it's 5 armor, it's only 2 per shot. So, yeah.
And here come the Wraiths trying to pew down this hatchery.
But the spore's almost done. Hatchery still has half health.
And the Ultralisks are on their way over to the Terran's base to try to make a counterattack now, and they see Terran has only taken this third base, and they are not really mining from the minerals, but it doesn't really matter. The BC count is at 3 right now. They're adding on 3 more, but they're not in position to defend this base.
Yeah, I feel like this is undefendable. The Ultralisks are too strong at this point.
Yeah, if this is like a Sky Terran type strategy, and they need more, bulk on the ground to defend against this Ultralisk flood that we're seeing from Zerg.
Look, they're being tickled.
Yeah, the BCs are doing a little bit more damage, actually, but they're outnumbered by the Ultralisks. So the worker line is just evaporating right now.
Yeah, but still there's 34 SCVs that Ninja base there in the top is mining, actually. So that's the bright outline of the dark cloud.
Still, 6 BCs out, so they will be able to clean up these Ultralisks. It's just a matter of how many SCVs are these Ultralisks going to destroy before it's too late.
I would like to see the Zerg player actually working on something that can stop the BCs if they ever attack. So I think Dark Swarm is really good against BCs, and also the armor upgrade for flying, so that your Scourge can connect better with the BCs. Because BCs one-shot Scourge, but if you get the armor upgrade, then they don't. Then they need 2 shots, so that makes a huge difference. So if you see your opponent going for BCs, it's almost always beneficial, and especially if you have 1k, 2k in the bank, to start the armor upgrade for air.
So it looks like the BCs are going for kind of a last gasp counterattack here, and that's going to leave the Terran base open to these Zerglings and Hydras, which are making their way across. So Venko has a choice now. Does he turn around or does he try to fight it out? There's actually a good amount of Spores here and Hydralisks defending this third base location for Zerg. Yeah, and it looks like there's enough, and GG is called.
Yeah. So if you ask me, like the Wraith play, if I encounter that usually by much better players than me that are clowning a little bit, but the way they usually play it is they put on quite some aggression in the early game, like they do a 8 Rex or something with a bunker rush, and then they follow that up with a really fast Vulture, which is tough because I might not have the sunken in time if I struggle with the bunker. And then they follow that up with the Wraiths. Yeah, in this game just now that we saw, there wasn't any of that early pressure. There was no Vulture build. There was no pressure with Marines. It was just a lot of Wraiths after quite a long gap of nothing. And if you just let the Zerg do his thing, then, as we saw, then he has a lot of the puzzle pieces in place to deal with Wraiths and the drones especially. Yeah, it makes it really hard to actually find damage then. I think you should bring the Zerg out of balance before you go into the Wraiths, if you can. Okay, game number 2 between Baal. In the top left, we see again in the dark gray Ash Baal of Polaris Rhapsody, top left.
Yeah, and in the bottom right, we have Kanzaki Renko playing as the blue Terran.
And I think that this color is a pattern. I think that Ashbal is actually picking the color and calling it.
Okay.
Because it's 2 times the same. But for Kazaki, it's a new color. So maybe he's hoping for better luck with this color, or he's not picking it. Do you like to pick your color?
I do like to choose blue because I got a lot of shit from it from commentators.
Okay. Yeah, well, with your name, maybe it's important to pick blue, yeah.
I don't have a choice anymore. So.
Yeah, I see. You could call yourself Royal Random and then
really mess with
random the color. Probably they wouldn't understand. They would say you're playing Terran, not random.
Yeah, no matter what happens, they won't understand, I feel.
Okay, so we see here Baal is going for pool this time before the hatchery. So maybe because it's a 2-player map, he fears some kind of earlier pressure. He wants to prevent that with the early pull, like the build that I suggested before with the 8 Rex into Bunker Rush, into Vulture, into Wraith. That would be shut down pretty hard by the pool first. So yeah, maybe he's thinking of that.
Yeah, we do see from Renko's side of things, there is no wall. So it doesn't look like they will be going for such a greedy expansion and potentially, high-tech build like the three-port rates we saw from in the last game. That is still a potential, but there is no gas being taken, so it looks like they will be going for a fast expansion here. And I think that's also kind of what happened in the last game too. They went for as you were saying, not really an aggressive Wraith build, but kind of a more macro Wraith build where they got the Wraiths out later, and by the time they were out with Cloak, the Zerg was totally ready. Zerg had Mutalists out, Zerg had Overlords, and they were just able to counter those initial Wraiths, and the snowball actually happened against the Terran in this game. Terran, though, kind of scrambling here when they see these initial links, and they've placed another depot, a couple racks, and a gas. So they're going for a one base academy build, and they're trying to wall their ramp against these initial links. So we'll see how Ball responds to this when he does see this is kind of a one basing Terran right now.
Yeah, maybe he will. Let's see if he can get a few. Oh yes, he even gets inside this disaster again.
Yes, this is brutal.
Okay, but it's only 2 links. Keep calm. Everybody keep calm. There's no additional links coming, which Kazaki doesn't know, but it's true. And he cleans up those 2 links, so crisis has been managed fairly okay. And Bal is even going for the sunken after scouting the 2 barracks and the gas, I guess.
Yeah, so Mako actually getting their build scouted there a little bit, letting the Zerg up the ramp. Now they're going for a counterattack with 4 Marines, but they don't have stim and they don't have medics either.
Yeah, I think he just wants to make sure that Zerg is playing honest and actually respecting the potential of stim and stimmed Marines to come.
Mm-hmm.
He should turn around once he sees that there are 2 sunkens.
Yeah, this is just very risky because, as you said, if there were more lings out on the map, these Marines would be picked off so easily. As it is, he does lose 1 Marine to see that there is 2 Sunkens outside, but I think these Marines will turn around relatively quickly here once they realize they can't really get any damage done on the Zerg base at this time. But he's actually just rallying units across the map here off 2 barracks.
Yeah. And Bal has gone for the 3.
Oh.
That was a medic. Has also gone for the 3 hatchery build again, like last game. So he's playing a very economical build, and considering that Terran doesn't have. Here come the boys. We're pulling the boys. SCVs are on the march. We've had enough of this game, guys. It's now or never.
Okay, so
Yeah,
the SCVs most likely will be trying to focus down the Sunkens and tank some shots. So some flying SCVs making their way across the map here. And then they're going to go for a big engage. And this is going to decide the game, basically. How does this one battle get microed for Mako? And are they able to get on top of these Sunkens? There's the stim. Oh, and I think the SCVs glitched too early there, and they're kind of walling the Marines, actually. Uh-oh.
This is the disaster again.
Yeah, this is not good.
Okay, so that looks like a 2-0 for Bal, which puts up Fear Factory 2 games to 1 or 2 matches to 1. At least in the tier 1 matches that we're looking at. I felt like Bal was playing like a more solid, more well-rounded play overall. Kazaki was a bit gimmicky. I mean, in the first game with the race, that was, I guess, still planned, but the second game, yeah, it felt a little bit tilted, a little bit over eager to find some quick win or loss.
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit of tilt. We've seen some quick games here, I think. You never want to make your elimination game a really fast cheese that you kind of didn't succeed in.
Yeah, I mean, especially in CPL, you practice or you have the chance to practice for a whole week. You know the map and the matchup. So play what you've practiced. There's absolutely no sense in last minute deciding to do some cheese that you never practiced. So yeah, not saying that that's what happened, but it feels like it. Um, so now we're casting a game between River Fox and Cos in the top center of Ascension. In purple, we have River Fox. No, we have Cos, the green suck.
Yes, and in the bottom right, on Ascension, as the purple Protoss, we have River Fox. So this will be another Zerg vs Protoss series.
Mhm. So Cos is representing the flying SCVs that are currently down 1-2 in the games we watched. And that, of course, makes River Fox a representative of the Fear Factory.
Okay, and River Fox going with their probe as a pylon scout, sending it directly to the Zerg base so they know exactly where their opponent has spawned now, and they're going to see this spawning pool timing. And from that, they're going to be able to determine what they want to place next at their pylon in the net. So
Yeah,
it looks like they're placing their fort.
yeah. So it was an overpool. So again, the typical response that Protoss has against overpool is to build a nexus next. So you build the forge and then the nexus, and that's at 12 supply, I believe. And you cut probes for a little bit so that you can build the cannon immediately after, and then that's just in time. That's like a optimized thing. If you don't want to cut probes, then you need to get the cannon before the nexus. So by cutting probes a little bit, you get the earlier nexus, and that is what Protoss players like to do when they know what they're up against.
Yeah, we don't actually see. Okay, so here's one cannon going down.
hmm Before the nexus. So there's not this, and there's a gate also. Okay, and another cannon. This is a different build,
Yes.
but it's a very safe build, and he scouts that there are 6 links, so better safe than sorry, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
These links are actually being very secretive, blocking the path into the main. I would feel suspicious. But that second cannon has been cancelled. So after seeing that the Lings weren't keen on running across the map, um, River Fox has decided one cannon is enough, which indeed it should be against 6 Lings with proper blocking. So good call there. I don't really like the delay on the Nexus. Um, you I think it's okay to get the cannon first if you don't want to super optimize your build, but don't get your gate before the Nexus, please.
So here we have River Fox sneaking a probe around, and
Mhm.
they're going to be able to see what Cause is up to over here. Taking that third
Yeah.
base, most likely they will try to scout out that third base location for Zerg and see exactly what's going on. But as you mentioned, these two Zerglings blocking the pathway into the main most likely will deny this probe. Oh!
And it slips through. It's coated in butter.
Yeah, so a slippery little probe there gets into the Zerg main, and it's going to see this lair is morphing, but no other
Yeah.
real tech buildings here.
Yeah, I think the most important thing to see is that there's no Hydralisk den
Mm-hmm.
going down. And maybe also the fact that there's only 7 drones here on the minerals and like 3 in the net. So there's really not a lot of drones. Yeah, I guess it's still early in the game, but it feels like Zerg is not really super economic right now. He built quite a few links, and yeah, I'm not sure if his build was tight all the time. It feels like he has not less drones than he should. Maybe
Yeah.
it's because of the link speed. Did he get link speed before the layer? I guess not. No, I don't think so. Okay, so we see a spire going down, so I guess it's a relatively... Okay, I misspoke. It's not a relatively standard build. He's going for the second gas, so maybe Cos is trying to do some Mutalisk magic here.
Yeah, we see this Stargate as finished for Protoss, so most likely they will be getting a Corsair out momentarily here, and that will allow them to do some even more scouting and potentially see this Spire on the way here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this second gas so early really points towards Mutalisks being built. Otherwise, it still looks pretty normal, like a normal 5-hatch into Hydra build. Looks very similar to this, except for that second gas.
Yeah, so we see, as you mentioned, the second gas has piled up for Zerg, so they're just gonna most likely spam out Mutalisks now that they get this gas. And they're actually going for Scourge first to try to deal with these
Good.
Corsair.
Yeah. The Scourge make quite a bit faster than the Mutalisk, so you can make them Mutalisk and Scourge at the same time and then still have a little bit of a window to chase the Corsair with the Scourge because they make faster.
Oh, and they're trying to detonate these Scourge onto the Corsair. For now,
He
though,
has
the
a second
Corsair is
pair.
getting away.
Not intercepted.
Partially intercepted.
Scourge are pretty stupid. So the way you want to micro that is you basically move the Scourge with normal right click into the path, and then when they're close enough, then you press A and on the ground, so attack
Oh,
click on the ground, and then they detonate instantly if they're close enough at that point.
okay.
So don't A click on the Corsair, but actually use move to get close enough and then A click on the ground to get the instant detonation.
Mm-hmm.
That avoids the bugging out of the Scourge that often happens otherwise.
And now here we see some Mutalisks making their way onto the field as well. So Kaz going for that kind of air-based army for now.
Yeah, it's a bit of a middle path because he does get Hydra speed and also the missile attacks. He even gets a second Evo for Carapace, so he's not committing hard on the mutas. He's not even getting air armor, so
Ooh.
yeah, a little bit of a mixed signals here. It's 6 Mutalisks, and usually what you do if you are doing these non-committal Mutalisk attacks is to get 5 Mutalisks, because that's just enough to one-shot probes, and then you just see what kind of probe damage you can do. Often they don't have a cannon yet, and if you come from an angle they didn't expect, and they also don't have their Corsairs in place. Okay, here we see the Zealot attack going into the third base. There's currently only 3 Hydras there and 2 Sunks that aren't done. The Mutalisks should be able to defend, but that's... Okay, that's only one Corsair left. Okay, so...
Yeah, the Corsairs did get in a bit of a battle with the Mutalisks and Hydras over at the Zerg Nat right before that engagement happened at the third. So it looks like the Corsair numbers have been severely limited now. And Protoss is forced back now, a little bit on the back foot, as that attack was not really successful, only damaging a few Sunkens.
Yeah, and Protoss is now forced to build cannons in his mineral line because he lost the air superiority by losing those Corsairs. Now the Mutas are a threat, and yeah, we'll see. We'll see if they can get something done. They don't seem to be very eager to get in there. Not quite sure what they're searching for back there. There's no overlords for Protoss.
Yeah, there's no floating buildings either, so there's not a lot that Protoss could have hiding over there.
Yeah, so we see Protoss is getting all of the upgrades that makes Protoss strong. So the Storm is already completed, and the units are rounding out. Like there's a healthy number of Zealots, and now Dragoons can be added into the mix. Also, some Corsairs are being built, so the Muta threat can be handled by these Corsairs. There's already 3 again, so I think that should be fine. I think overall it looks like Protoss is gearing up, looking strong. We will have to see how the first move out goes, how the first attack goes.
Yeah, oftentimes you'll see these muralists being used to try to pick off Templars, and as you said, pick off probes, but they haven't really forced too many storms out of these Templar just yet. So if the storms are good, this could be a tough attack for Cause to try to deal with. There isn't really like a lot of free supply for Cause, I've noticed.
Mm-hmm. He's blocked. That's a nice way of saying he's blocked.
Yes, he's blocked. So it's going to be hard to add on to his unit totals.
Yeah.
But some overlords are finishing up here. And here comes an engagement between those mutalisks and the Corsair, but right now the Corsair just getting a bunch of free shots off.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
it
actually
looks
quite
like
a large amount of mutas.
yeah, it looks like Protoss is gonna group up here and move out. Muta's being split kind of to engage with those Corsairs, but the Hydra is just getting slaughtered underneath all this by the Zealots. And
Yeah,
now
and the mutas also didn't do great. They're all low. Now a lot of mutalisks have died, and the rest is super low. There's four mutas against 3 Corsairs, so it looks like Protoss is very strong right now, army-wise.
Yeah, and these Hydralisks are a little grouped up. We'll see how good the storms are here.
Yeah, decent storm. Another decent storm. I think it's enough. It looks good. Or is it?
Yeah, I think Protoss narrowly wins this one, and it looks like they're going to set up their third base as well. They just have to defend this high ground now, which, judging by the Zerg reinforcements coming across the map, may be easier said than done. But
Yeah.
Protoss moving their army now to try to reinforce this high ground.
Storm? No. Yeah, there was one Templar with quite some energy lost for free there, and now the reinforcements are kind of coming behind these few Dragoons. Zerg is able to capture this high ground position also with Lurker Tech now in play. So I think at least this third base can be cancelled for now.
Yeah, that third base going down, so a very good move from Cause to deny that base. They're still in a very comfortable position in this game, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. Also, compared to that first game that we casted, just look at how the mineral lines are saturated. It's a much healthier saturation at the natural and third, especially. The main is a tad thin, but still okay. I mean, it's 1 per patch in the main. So that's really good. Maybe a 6th hatchery would be nice, but otherwise the Zerg is playing a nice macro game and even has already the layer tag and the defiler upgrades researching, which is maybe a little bit earlier than normal.
Oh, okay. So here's a big engagement going down in the middle.
Yeah, it's not looking so bad for the Protoss player. Repositioning lurkers is always tricky. With lurkers, you ideally want to have them set up and using them offensively, or when you have to move them, that's when lurkers are really weak. I feel like Kotz really should put down an additional hatchery. He has the money, and 5 hatcheries at this point is just a little bit low.
Cause really
Can't
holding on
use
to
these
this lurker
matches.
contain kind of that they've got set up here. But it looks like there is enough Protoss to get on top of it and take out these lurkers one by one here. And now, yeah, Cause does have 2 hatcheries finishing up, but suddenly these bases are kind of exposed now that this lurker contain has been cleared out.
Yeah, let's see what the plan here is. So we have already even defilers with plague upgrade researched. So that's cool, I guess. Um, yeah, it feels a bit early. That's why I'm hesitant to praise it too much.
Okay.
Usually, you would go into like secure your fourth base and saturate that with drones and get 2 or 3 extra macro hatches, and then go into the hive things. That's the more typical way to play in CPP.
Okay.
But it seems to be working quite well. I mean, he's getting away with it. He's not The Protoss army is not killing his bases, so I guess it's
Yes.
working.
He still has a building alive, so it's going well so far. And yeah, he did get a nice plague off on some of those dragoons.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he has these 2 expansions which are very unprotected, but he's getting them up. It looks like Protoss is more concerned with trying to secure his third base. But if he goes that route, then we have Zerg on 5 bases with Hive Tech and all the upgrades done. And Protoss hasn't even completed his third, so it feels like a losing proposition. I feel like Protoss should go out on the map and attack at least these 2 vulnerable bases that don't even have a lot of static defense.
Yeah, this is the question with Protoss though: is how do you pressure Zerg without making your own expansions vulnerable? So
Mm.
maybe the correct move here would be some kind of shuttle harass or like sneaking some units by. But there's another good play from the Defilers, and
Yeah.
Zurich has done a good job of somewhat containing Protoss to this corner of the map and making them a lot easier to deal with so far, anyway. But oh no, not a shuttle. Yeah, just more and more plagues going down on this Protoss death ball.
Yeah, so I think that Protoss currently just has a superior army, the bigger army, maybe lacking a little bit on the tech front against all these hive tricks, but it's just a lot of units that the Protoss has. So I think he's doing a good job. His base is relatively secure if he moves out with his army and Zerg continually engages the Protoss army, then Zerg doesn't really have room to counterattack. Feels like you need to go over this high ground, and that's where the rally of the Protoss is. So yeah, it doesn't feel like counterattacks are such a big problem anymore. I think if you look at how pro players play PvZ, and usually they go for a much later third and they focus harder on like getting a really strong push and not as much on getting their third. Like they get the third when their really strong push is doing good damage, but they
Yeah.
don't sit around as much trying to secure a third. Yeah.
Yeah, now we see Protoss actually sending their army here to the bottom, which may allow Zerg to make a counterattack if they so choose. But
Yeah.
right now, no counterattack just yet. Just trying to siege up some position and burrow their lurkers in a good spot.
Yeah, these are a bit clumped up
Yeah,
lurkers,
a
but
little
there's no
clump.
storms to punish right now.
Yeah, a little clumped lurkers and not a lot of supporting units like a Defiler or Zergling army. There is a Zergling group which is now moving into position. But
And where's
without
the observer?
yeah, without an observer, what can you do against
Yeah.
this many lurkers? You the DPS is so high on lurkers, you really can't pass through this field right now.
Yep. There's even a Dark Swarm in the back. The Defiler can cast the Dark Swarm, and Dragoons are completely useless then.
So these Dragoons moving back to try to defend this fourth base. Here, finally, we do have a shuttle making its way into the main of Zerg. Zerg did scout it, I think, with an Overlord. We'll see if they react at all when their drones are going to be attacked by, it looks like a High Templar drop.
Yeah, he hasn't realized it because he's not making Scourge. So the first thing you do if you notice you're being dropped is you make a pair of Scourge somewhere.
Yeah, and here I'm really interested to see how this High Templar drop does. But there is a bust going down on this lurker field.
Here we go. The storm is being prepared. He's coming in. Storm! Come on, please.
No storm. It doesn't look like he's gonna storm. But he did bust through that lurker contain, so there was a win here for Protoss. Just wasn't quite the juicy storm we wanted to see.
The zealots are needed for this task.
Yes, we see the effectiveness of Dark Swarm right now.
Yeah. But Protoss has managed to secure the bases. The 3 o'clock position is only guarded by cannons for all this time, and it's similar to what I criticized two or three games ago, where the base also was only guarded by cannons. Cannons, especially once the Defilers are out, just aren't super strong. Like you just add like 1-2 High Templars or a Reaver, that makes the defense so much stronger. And especially right now, the Protoss is splitting his army and his attention because the two bases, like the bottom and the top base, they're pretty far apart. So Zerg really should capitalize on this 3 o'clock being so sparsely defended. Counter attack in there just sends like one Defiler and 1 or 2 groups of Zerglings would also already tear it down.
Yeah, I really have to question the expansion location from River Fox, not taking that normal fourth, but instead taking this base down here in the bottom of the map. Their army has now been kind of forced to this bottom half of the map to defend it, and it is leaving that one base location, the third base they took, quite exposed, as there is only cannons defending it for the time being.
Yeah, a normal fourth, that's the top, like the 2 o'clock, right? Yeah, that would be great, because then you can rally to that high ground where the Zerglings are right now and basically defend both bases relatively comfortable from there. And here comes that attack I was calling for.
Yeah, there's not even a Dark Swarm, but it's not needed. The Speedlings are so effective, and they're going to take out this Nexus here really quick, actually. And Protoss, on the other side of this, did do a counterattack into the bottom left base from Zerg, but taking out that base doesn't really set Zerg back as far as taking out this base sets Protoss back. Zerg has quite a few bases now, so they're not necessarily tied down to any one base. And we see Protoss now only mining from one base, this bottom base. So their whole army has kind of got to be repositioned to defend that location. And that's going to make it more difficult for them as this game goes on, as they are kind of pinned to this base. But here we have another shuttle. And it's over here in the middle left. And it may try to make a move. It's actually forced some drones to be pulled from that middle mining line.
Here he goes. And here comes the big fat drone transfer.
Oh, yes.
Ah.
This is what we wanted to see. Yes, 11 kills on that storm.
The promise has been fulfilled.
And here's the Dark Swarm, so it looks like this last Protoss mining base is not long for this world. As these cannons are going to go down, and they're, just cannons is not enough. You need something else here to kind of buffer.
Yeah, it's really hard, this base, positionally, because you need to defend your main somehow also. So you need to rotate your army all this time. So Protoss took really long to get home or to get to this base to defend.
Yeah. Oh, wow, what a play. So Protoss has kind of won all the fights, but lost the war, it looks like here. They are trying to take now another expansion here in the top right, but these cannons are not going to be in time, and the Zerglings are going to get right on top of this expansion as well. So Protoss, although they've been able to clean up these Zerg counterattacks, or these little Zerg armies, they haven't been able to do the kind of damage they needed to the Zerg economy. Here's actually 2 shuttles full of Dark Templar making their way into the Zerg main.
Last attempt.
Yeah, what a way to go out.
Snipe the hive, win the game.
They're going for the Overmind here.
Meanwhile, the attack on that base with the main army looks good. Seems to be able to kill this base. But given that Protoss is not mining at all, we need a little bit more than just stopping this base, because there's still the 9 o'clock, which is healthily mining. Shuttle goes down to Scourge. So that has been shut down. The hive has survived, so that has been shut down. All that remains now is this not really impressively large Protoss force.
Yeah.
But can it be stopped?
Yes.
There's not so much from the Zerg.
Protoss is
Night
not
is
going to
being
leave,
used.
yeah, until this army gets destroyed.
Yeah. It's actually close. The Storms are doing great work. Okay, the last High Templar. Oh, there's 2 more High Templars. Let's see if they can... I don't know who's gonna win this.
Well, I just don't think there's any way he breaks this last mining base of Cause, right?
Yeah, I don't think he can. But if he destroys everything else and he's getting his own base there, he's expanding.
So Cause is actually unburrowing the lurkers.
Yeah. Which is dangerous.
Yes, here they go, engaging with those Archons, but they're not burrowed just yet.
Yeah.
Wow, these Archons getting a lot of kills so far.
Yeah, and the High Templars are also full of storms. Storms for days. One of them has almost 3 storms.
Well, Protoss went on their attack, but now they're realizing they're not able to totally destroy Zerg's mining bases. So they're having to...
Oh, the High Templars! No, we need those!
Yeah.
Okay, so the storms are gone. Where did the lurkers go? I think the lurkers would be more valuable at the mining base than at the not mining base. Yeah, priorities.
Yeah, as soon as he finds those lurkers, I'm sure they're gonna head over to that last mining base for Zerg, so they can be in a defensive position. But I think
he used to have 2 lurkers there, but somehow he pulled them away. But now maybe he can. No, it looks like Zerg can just counter into this base.
Yes.
There's absolutely nothing there again. And
Yeah.
if he gets that, then Protoss taps out, I think.
Yeah, Zerg doesn't really need to fight this army, but they're gonna do it anyway, sending in all their Zerglings, taking out one of the Archons, but actually getting cleaned up there. And so now, yeah, they lost their potential to do a counterattack. So they're going to send out another group. And Protoss is just spread too thin here. They've only got 3 Zealots and 1 Archon left. They're trying to get some more probes out.
Yeah, it's 10 probes to 41 drones, but the 41 drones are in one single base, so they're not really mining super well. And this new base seems to be shut down, but cracklings. They only need to kill this one Archon, and then there's only Zealots, and those are manageable. So I think that that Cost has done it now, finally.
Yeah,
The
these
Zealot.
Zealots getting bugged out, and it looks like that's the last fighting unit really out here for River Fox. There's 1 Zealot.
Yeah. He still isn't transferring those lurkers. It would be great to secure this new base to transfer some drones there. These 41 drones that are still mining there at this one base, just take half of those and transfer them, and your minings will double. But yeah, River Fox already realizes the writing on the wall and taps out.
Okay. So that's it for game 1, which we have Cause taking that one. So let's get into game number 2.
Mhm. Okay, in the bottom right, we have Cos leading 1-0, playing the yellow Zerg on Polaris Rhapsody.
Yeah, and in the top left, as the blue Protoss, we have River Fox. And they're going to be looking to even up this series and take game number 2.
I don't like this color, dark blue. I can't read his name in the
Yeah.
overlay. Yeah. I'm gonna quickly fetch myself some water. Be back.
Okay. Alright, so let's see what opening builds we have from both these players. It looks like River Fox placing their first pylon at the net. So going for either a gateway expand or a forge fast expand. And for a cause, it's just a matter of when will they place their spawning pool here. And there it goes down right before the overlord finishes.
Guess who's back?
Yay.
Back again. Yeah, so it looks like Overpool from Cos and Forge expand from River Fox. So same as last game, I think.
Yeah, and Cause actually sending out a drone here, maybe trying to take an expansion with this drone? Or just going a different scouting path? What do you think this drone's doing out here?
I think it's scouting, but I don't know why it's doing this path.
Okay.
Maybe he wants to find the sneaky 2 gates that were positioned here in that TVP that we
Yes.
witnessed.
Well, they
Okay, he sees the cannon. I guess he goes home. Yeah.
Yeah. And
The probe is
takes an
attacking the
expansion.
pool. Sees the 6 lings have hatched. One of them is chasing probes, the other are running out. So now River Fox needs to be aware of the potential that lings are going to arrive relatively soon. We know that they aren't. They're just standing at the net. but they could be. Where's the probe? Did it die? Yes, it died.
Yes,
So the
the
scouting
probe
probe
died.
died. Mm. That's, of course, very unfortunate. And I think it means at this point of the game that you need to send another one immediately, because you don't really know if he's continuing to make links. And I don't think that you can play in a way that isn't super risky without sending a probe right away. And since he doesn't have link speed, you should be able to scout, right?
So here is a probe making their way to the Zerg side of the map. They did sneak out around the top, and now they're making their way south. So they most likely will be rescouting and seeing exactly what Cause is up to, which right now is a fast lair and 2 hatcheries. So they're kind of playing more macro here.
Mm. Yeah, I don't know about more macro. No, typically, you put that third hatchery at a third base. So
I see what you
I
mean.
would class it as less macro than standard. The Zealot is baiting the links into the cannon. So good job there. But he loses the probe again. At least he got all the way into the main, so he sees there's a hive building and some hatcheries. No hydras on the way, so I guess so far so good. By the way, I think that if Kos had been a little bit more decisive, there was quite a long time when there was only one cannon and he had 6 links, but he left 2 at home. If he pulled all of those 6 links forward, and there wasn't a Zealot yet, and there was no probe blocking, so I think that he could have just run past the cannon and lose like 2 or 3 links. I think that would have been a good move. And he saw it with his overlord, right? So he could see that there was no block there and only one cannon. But here comes 2 zealots. Kos posturing very defensively with the links blocking the ramp and Simon.
Yeah,
Loses a drone.
These Zealots don't get too much damage done, and it looks like Cause will take that third base. They do have a drone in location to take an expansion there if they so choose.
Yeah, this is just a pretty non-standard build. I'm not sure because he doesn't take the third. It's a bit confusing to me. Yeah, unusual.
Yeah, so would this lead you to believe that Cause is going for some kind of a timing with the Hydralisks now? Considering they're not really producing too many drones anymore, and they're just going into this, like, looks like a Hydralisk timing?
Yeah, I mean, I guess something like 3-hatch Hydra, but he got a lair, and he has quite a lot of drones, 24 drones. That's more than, like, if you go for the 973 build, that has 9 drones in the main, and 7 in the net, and 3 on the third. So if you add all of that up, that's 19 plus the 3 on gas. So that's 22, but he already has 28. So it's definitely not a 973 type of build. He's got more drones. And the 973 is considered a economic version of a 3-hatch Hydra. So yeah,
It's
not
even more economic than we're seeing.
Yeah, but it's
and it looks like there is an expansion from Cause coming out behind this, but they are still keeping forward with their Hydras, putting on some pressure, and I'd like to see them snipe off one of these cannons here. They can get on top of it.
Yeah, does he have range? I think he does, right? Yeah. But it can be hard to position your Hydras in a way that they can snipe off a Forge. There's now quite some Zealots. They have speed, and the +1 is also done. So they actually win the fight with these Hydras in these numbers.
Yeah, the Zealots cleaning up those Hydras, getting out surround there, taking out a few Hydras. And so now things have kind of swung in favor of Protoss, it looks like.
Yeah, definitely, especially because there's no third base, and that means that there also can't be any Sunkens or any other static defense built. So these Protoss units, if they can get there and there's already one Zealot there, then maybe they can shut down the third before it can even be fortified. But that's a lot of Hydras.
Yeah, Zerg is reinforcing pretty steadily with Hydra numbers. And they're getting their Spire out.
Yeah, one thing I want to point out is that the natural is like completely oversaturated. There's like, I don't know, more than 2 drones per patch there. But in the main, there's 7 drones for 9 patches.
Yeah.
So Zerg could actually improve his mining quite a lot just by balancing out his drones a little bit better.
Yeah, I think that's a key point. Sometimes it's important to remember to macro with your worker count and getting the right mineral patches saturated. There is, of course, a lot going on in this game, and we're seeing the third base is not being mined great, as these Zealots getting right on top of it and taking out all the Hydras at this location as well for cause.
And the Zealots being super strong and just engaging boldly into the Hydras, getting good trades there. And what I was fearing happened. The Protoss was able, before there was any static defense, to jump on this third base, and now Zerg is stuck on 2 bases.
Yeah, and as
and
you
only
said,
3 hatches.
Only 3 hatches, and really only one base is fully saturated. The other base is like half saturated. So yeah, not where you want to be as Zerg. They would have liked to see that expansion up sooner with some static D to hold against the Zealot timing. And now for Protoss, they've got all these gateways. Their Zealot timing was like super effective. All they have to do is add in their more higher tech units and get ready for this Hydra mass, which we're seeing from Cause right now. Actually, Cause switching over into mutas, building a couple mutas now.
Yeah, I feel like Protoss has just so many gates compared to those only 3 hatches. Like 3 hatches are a little bit better than 3 gates. Probably with 3 hatches you can play against 4 gates or so, or maybe even 5, but not against 8 gates. So right now, it's just macro-wise, River Fox can just produce so many units that he doesn't even have to land the storms. He just can run in Zealots into Hydra clumps.
Or lack of Hydra clumps is really the big thing.
Yeah, and he finds that new base in the bottom left with 1 Zealot also, so it's like there's no third base for Cos, and these Dragoons are already plentiful enough to be able to stop those 3 mutas, I think.
Yeah, and here we have this base being taken at 12 o'clock by River Fox, so they're even posturing for a longer game as well if necessary, but their army does look to be kind of overwhelmingly superior in a straight fight with the Zerg right now. But here come the Mutalisks. Can they get some Templar isolated?
We have again this situation where Protoss is seemingly very focused on securing an extra base instead of attacking. And I feel like right now Protoss should be attacking. There's 2 bases that are really vulnerable, and if he prevents those, one of them is just killed by the DT, which is good work. But I mean, his army is so strong. If he moves out on the map, he's gonna force the Zerg to fight that army.
Yeah, and I think we may have just seen the decisive battle there as Zerg is forced off this high ground outside of Protoss third, and Protos's third is allowed to finish. Zerg was able to snipe out quite a few Templar there, like 4 Templar with their mutas, but now their mutas have taken a lot of damage, and good game is called here.
GG.
GG.
Yeah, it is. I felt like Cos never got his rhythm in this game. It was like the build was really weird from the start, like without a third base taken, and yeah, it felt like he wasn't really following a build. He was freestyling a little bit, and it didn't work out very well. So I guess we still have more games.
Yes, we do. Are you done for today?
Yeah, I think I have to call it because it's way past my bedtime already.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, if you want, we can cast more either tomorrow evening or some other time, or you could finish it yourself, whatever you prefer.
Yeah, let's just try to finish it tomorrow. Tomorrow around this time. Does that work for you?
Uh-huh.
Like starting at the same
Yeah,
time, maybe?
yeah,
Okay, I'll
that
just
works.
add it to the schedule then. I'll let them know then, I guess.
Okay, cool. Then thanks for casting with me, and see you tomorrow.
Yep, see you tomorrow. Thanks for the cast, and thanks for joining me, Lee and Pompe, and we'll see you all next time.